I'm building and combining every LEGO Spider-Man City set to build a giant LEGO Spider-Man City and capture all the villains. Let's begin our LEGO Spider-Man City with Peter Parker's apartment, which can split into two parts. Let's take a look at the bottom floor first, which has a kitchen table for Spider-Man to sit at, as well as a seat for Mary Jane, who also comes in this set. We get ourselves a LEGO pizza box, as well as a kitchen utensil strapped to the wall. There's also these clear studs on the wall, which allow for us to pose Spider-Man within his apartment. Now, the second floor of Peter Parker's apartment is a bit more packed. There's a desk and chair for him to work on, as well as a bed for him to relax on. But the coolest part of this set may be this piece right here, because when you press on it, it explodes the apartment. Now, there's not much going on with the roof. Alongside Mary Jane and Spider-Man, we get this spider robot, which has 8 posable legs, as well as a seat for Spider-Man or whoever pilots it. But now let's take a look at the bad guys that come in this set. We get this pretty generic anti-venom minifigure and this super cool Hobgoblin minifigure with these flaming pumpkins and this huge glider. Hobgoblin has this rubber cape and these menacing big red eyes. Now, there's a little bar piece on his glider which can attach to Peter Parker's apartment to make it look like he's flying. And now we've built the first part of our LEGO Spider-Man City. Now, for the next build of our LEGO Spider-Man City, let's build this grocery store, which comes with our first LEGO Miles Morales minifigure, as well as this Gwen Stacy with this super cool hood piece. We also get this giant spiderweb and Officer Jefferson, who's Miles Morales' dad. He comes with his police car, which can fit 2 LEGO minifigures. Now, our bad guy is the Spot, who creates these black portals which allow for him to teleport, which is why he has black spots all over his body. Now, let's take a look at the LEGO grocery store itself. The entrance is on a corner, which gives it a really cool look, and there's tons of signs on top of the building. I think the detail of the LEGO air conditioning is quite funny, and there's a LEGO ice machine, which inside has some melted ice, so it's not very effective. And when you press on this button at the bottom of the ice machine, it launches an ATM inside the grocery store. There's a portal for Spot at the top of the building. I like the idea that we could move the Spot around to different spots of our LEGO Spider-Man City. No pun intended. Back to the grocery store, there's a ledge for you to place LEGO minifigures on next to Spot's portal. There's tons of groceries and items packed into this tiny place. In fact, it's so tiny you can barely fit all the minifigures inside. Now, let's add the grocery store next to Peter Parker's apartment so that Spider-Man and Miles Morales can team up to take on their enemies. There's another store in our LEGO Spider-Man City, and it's called Mini Mart. There's a camera hidden on the side of the store, which could be for catching Spider-Man's identity or used by Spider-Man to catch his villains. The Mini Mart does seem to have a very detailed interior, and it also splits into 2 parts. The first floor has some shopping options, as well as the world's tiniest cash register. The second floor seems to be a hideout for some sort of bad guy, because there's a Spider-Man head on the dartboard and some villain secrets on the computer. And for whatever reason, there's a lone chicken on the roof, but we'll add this right next to Peter Parker's apartment. This LEGO building splits into 2 like many of the others, and there's a jewelry store on the bottom floor, which seems to be getting robbed by Kraven the Hunter, who's got this super detailed torso and seems to care more about shiny things than money, because there's some just left on the counter. Good news is that there's a security camera capturing all this going down, which is right next to this red lever, which makes the front window explode. I'm not sure why Kraven the Hunter wants to cause such a big scene, because it seems much easier just to walk through the front door. I noticed something very interesting about this jewelry store, though, and it just happens to be in this poly bag right here. So I opened it up to investigate, and we've got ourselves another LEGO Spider-Man, as well as our first LEGO Venom. Then I went on to assemble the build, which will make sense in just a second here. There's a jewel in this little build, and it's identical to the one inside our LEGO jeweler, which means these 2 LEGO sets are connected to each other, which also means Kraven and Venom are teaming up on a heist. Spider-Man should be able to handle these 2 villains, though. And with all that chaos going on the first floor, there's an apartment that belongs to Gwen Stacy on the second floor, which includes a bed, a tiny fan, as well as some spray paint cans and some artwork. There just so happens to be a secret feature hidden on the roof. You can hide a LEGO minifigure in this compartment and drop them down by pulling this lever. Now, if you notice, this apartment has some dark red coloring, which is the same color as the grocery store, which means you can combine the 2. Now, LEGO Spider-Man City is starting to come together, but let's add a ton of small side builds, like this little newsstand or a traffic light or another traffic light or this bike for Miles Morales. This makes our city look a lot more lively. Now, the city feels a little too safe, so let's add another villain in Rhino with this giant Rhino mech. Now, let's take a look at our city's largest addition, Oscorp Tower, which is run by Norman Osborn, who surely has nothing to hide. The door to get into Oscorp Tower is super interesting. It works like a sliding door. Inside, we can meet Eddie Brock, who may or may not be controlled by Venom. I'm not sure, though. On the second floor, we get a research station with what looks like some Venom symbiote. There's also a red button here, and when you press on it, it blows up the front of the building. On the third floor is a hangar for the Green Goblin's glider, which is really small, especially when you look at it next to the Hobgoblin's glider. So I upgraded it with a new set of wings, which are pretty similar to the wings on the Hobgoblin's glider. There's a research station on the 4th floor, as well as a way to turn Norman Osborn into the Green Goblin. Surprise! This version of the Green Goblin reminds me a lot of an Iron Man suit rather than something like the Hobgoblin. You can also hang Spider-Man from the front of this tower with this giant pole sticking out. My favorite part is that you can spin Spider-Man quite rapidly. There's also a way to knock figures off the tower. Now it's time to add the most famous building in Spider-Man City, the Daily Bugle, which is run by J. Jonah Jameson, which is full of all sorts of offices and is being raided by Mysterio on the outside, who has this cool translucent green piece. Now that we've built our entire LEGO Spider-Man City, Spider-Man and his friends can capture all the villains.